ignorance. Do not leave the meeting.
Got it.
There it goes. All right. Just have to make sure. Because the last time was embarrassment.
Oh,
What do you mean for who? For you?
I wasn't embarrassed.
Wowzer.
That's my natural element. Why would I be embarrassed of something that's innate in me? That's not, you're telling me to choose how to be embarrassed or not? Like, no, that don't work.
No, not even cowboy or cowgirl in this case. Cow person. I'm being
And I'm going to ride him
exclusive.
like a rodeo.
There it is. And that's on what? That's where you're supposed
I'm not
to
with you, Jeanette.
per
Nope.
or period.
No.
Or
No.
one of those. We're
I
not
was
doing
just
that.
trying to change the lanes of where you were trying to go because you were getting at my neck all evening. So
What do you mean?
you're the one that's being very spicy right now. And
Well, look at the tables turning. Look at the tables shaking. Oh, baby.
imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So thanks.
Do you feel flattered?
If you want to imitate me, sure, why not?
And there it is. Mission complete.
There's
Friend
something
points go
about
to
you
me.
this week. I can't put my finger on it. There's something about you this week that I just can't put my finger on.
I am not going to allow stress, anxiety, and other things to keep me down. That's what it is. I won't do it.
Good for you. Good for you. I'm proud of you.
Shan't do it. Nope. So this is me injecting positivity, energy, lift, oomph into this episode. That's it.
I hear you, buddy.
Oh, buddy. Wow. All right.
I'm reading your room. Giving me buddy.
Damn, son, I tried. Look, the days have been stressful for everybody, so I'm just trying to lighten the mood between the streeting and people wilding out here. No, but when I'm inside, I hear the streets are going crazy. People are shooting and robberies. And, and
where do you live?
I live in Brooklyn, New York. You know this.
I must have slipped my mind.
Wowzer. I mean, you heard about the thing that happened weeks ago in the subway and all those.
I did.
Things. Yeah, it's a thing. The streets are wilding. The masks are unmasked. It's just too much. I'm not going to allow all of those outside pressures to bring me down.
You sound your age.
What? You know what? I'm going to take that as a compliment. I sound mature and I sound grown. That's right.
Sure. That's a good way of saying that.
All right. And to not, we're not, nope, I'm not going to entertain your spiciness right now. That's what I'm not going to do.
That's fine.
All right.
Because I'm riding like a rodeo.
All right, let's get started. What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sophisticated Ignorance, the podcast. I'm Vixon J.
And I am Sophisticated Rove.
Ow. We love this hat on you. I'm telling you, every time you wear it, it gives Carmen Sandiego. I love it.
That was not what I was going for, so I won't wear it again. And if that gives you, Carmen, I could only imagine what it gives the audience. So it's now retired.
Why? Why would you do that?
It's supposed to give you Beyonce.
Oh, right. From that, not the Lemonade. Oh, yes, the Lemonade music video, right? Yeah. See? I know some things. Oh.
The whole all black, but I didn't. But it wasn't giving. So clearly you don't see Beyonce when you see me. So that hurts my feelings. And I'm kind of frustrated now with the hat. So now it's gone.
There's Beyonce in all of us. Is that not the case?
Not true at all. There's some people who don't have a lick of Beyonce in them, and they believe they do.
Oh, you heard that, people? Rovie threw shade to all of y'all. All of y'all.
They know who they are. I mean,
do they?
Some people just don't have that Beyonce. It's the truth. I'm not shading anyone. The people who know that they are the Beyonce of their group, they know who they are. And the people who aren't, and they are the, Michelle's or the Kellys, they know who they are. You know your role. They'll act right. They'll act out now. Come on.
Okay. That sounds personal. I'm not going to even touch that. Okay.
That's okay. I'm glad you are the Michelle to my Beyonce, though.
Absolutely and not. Okay.
What? Wow. You think something wrong with being Michelle? Wow.
The fact that you fixed your lips to say that.
From the soul. Wow.
All right. This is what we're doing. Okay.
So wait, you can't be Michelle?
Why can't you be yourself? And who's going to be Kelly?
Because I've already established that I'm Beyonce. I could do dual roles with Kelly and Beyonce.
So why couldn't I be Kelly?
Because you have the vocal range of Michelle.
How sway? You've never heard me. You know what? We're getting off track. It doesn't matter. We are getting off track, and I'm not going to entertain this.
Hey, you started.
And well, you finished. So good job. Moving swiftly along.
Full of it.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about the over-sexualization of children in society. And I know that's a very hard segue, but I think it's a wild segue. But I feel like across our conversations or across our musings on the internet, we've seen a lot of examples of younger children, and we're talking about like kids. We're not just talking about like young adults. We're just talking about kids, being over-sexualized, whether by older people of a different gender or, people's parents or, different parties. So we just wanted to kind of break down why it is that this happens, what is the damaging effects of sexualizing children, and, seeing that young kids are being exposed to sexual acts or sexual situations at a young age. How do we properly navigate those conversations and make sure that because we can't remove sex from the conversation when it comes to just what's out there, right? So how do we navigate around it, and how do we have healthier conversations about sex other than, like raunchy, nasty, bust it down? Oh my gosh. What am I saying?
What?
All right. No, I heard it, and then I was just like, what the fuck am I saying right now? I don't like it. All right. Moving on. This is a serious topic. We can't be
it is
wild shit like this.
You've been laughing and yucking it up, and I'm like, whoa.
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I don't know why those particular words came out of my mouth. All right. Doesn't matter. Moving on.
Yes.
The point is that, in certain cases, once again, children, especially when it comes to the internet, are seen in a sexualized way. And, that's obviously from creeps and other things. So I think one of the major questions to start off with is, do you think children in today's generation is exposed to sex too early? And that's whether to TV, social media, their own circles, such like their parents, friends. Let's just start off there. What do you think?
I believe that, I can only speak from my own personal experience. I wasn't really exposed to sex at a young age. However, when I was around my peers, I would hear different stories, and I was exposed to sex, I guess innocently. I mean, I knew that a man and a woman got together, but I didn't know the exact breakdown and the science behind it. It was a time period where this is gonna sound so weird, but there was a bunch of kids, right? We would all be playing outside. That was a thing. We used to play outside, and then two of my friends will run off and like we'll go somewhere, and then everybody was like, "Oh my God, they're making out, or they're doing this, or they're touching each other." And I'm like, "Yo, what y'all doing? Like, are we like into voyeurism now? Like, it's kind of weird." But I realized, because we're all looking, because we don't know. We don't know. Like, this is something brand new. Like, how do you do this? What do you do? And then it's like they must have just been mimicking what they themselves have saw, or child has saw, and they wanted to see, what it's like, because at that age, all we're doing is exploring, figuring out our self-identities, seeing what we can get away with at that age. So for me, in my experience, it was mostly my peers. Now, regarding like today, now sex is all over the damn TV. I remember when we couldn't say like damn and ass on actual publications like Fox or ABC or NBC. Right. Like, those certain words were blurred out, but you can say whatever the hell you want. FCC doesn't care anymore. Nothing is censored. Like, even with Married with Children, they had a bunch of sex jokes, but you had to really understand the context of the joke and actually know like words and definitions. Right now, they're just like, okay, we're just gonna go have sex upstairs and try to do something extra freaky. There's like no type of rhythm or dance to it when they're screening like shows and stuff. So that's a lot of that has changed. And also now, we were only forced to watch a certain set of shows, I guess, when we were younger. Not everything's on a streaming platform. Kids, even though they have Netflix Kids and Kids this and blah, 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 kids are going to find a way to watch something that they're not supposed to anyway. And everything is all about sex or relationships or reality TV or even cartoons. Some of the adult cartoons that you think are cartoons is strictly about sex. So.
Right. And, I think it's interesting how you mentioned just the notion of, TV and being exposed to it in that way. We think about like the current like television ratings, like PG-13, right? And at 13 years old,
are ratings still a thing? Is that still a thing in 2022? I don't think I've seen a rating.
Do you not watch TV and see the ratings? I mean, probably not much on like streaming networks, or no, depending on the streaming network, there are like PG or rated PG-13 or rated.
No, remember when we were younger, they would put it like that little white box in the upper
right.
Like,
that's when we had
corner.
A whole box TV. But I'm talking about
but now they don't even have that now. All they say is mature audiences only, and then that's it. Like real fast, like real low, mature, and then you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm mature. Yeah, I'm gonna watch this.
No, but it also shows the letters. No, it shows the letters like language and adult situations and all that stuff. Yeah,
I mean, they have NC-17. Oh shit, we about to see some boobs, like some shit like that.
What NC-17 programming have you been exposed to?
I'm not just saying. That's back in the day when you would see that. Lord have mercy. You know what? You trying to get at me. I'm trying to make a point right now.
I'm listening.
I'm trying to make a point, right?
I'm listening.
Like before then you would see, and then I guess in that aspect, when kids see something like mature or rated R or NC-17, it's like, oh shit, this is something I'm not supposed to see. Let me see what the fuck it is.
Of course.
But there's not even that anymore. It's just that, mature audience. And it's like, it doesn't even like put fear in the heart. I remember if that came on and it was loud and be like, rated NC-17. I'm like, where's my mom? Oh, she don't be watching this. Like, I get scared, put fear in my heart. But now kids aren't scared of anything no more at all.
I mean, look, the internet is free. Everything is easily accessible.
Internet is free, for real. My parents didn't even talk to me about sex. They were like, oh, you're a big girl now. You know what you're not supposed to do. Boom. Bible down. I'm like, okay.
That's a horrible, that is a horrible way to have the talk. Horrible. No details,
honest,
no type of...
hand to God, I've never had the sex talk with my parents.
Neither me.
Like, I learned through sex, through health class. Thank God for my health teacher in junior high school, and ultimately going to medical school. But I did not know anything about sex. And I'm sure that any other guy, that if I tried to pursue any type of romantic relationship, when I was younger, they didn't know shit about sex either. I think we had this one thing in youth fellowship about save sex versus safe sex. And I was like, oh my God. Like that was like the biggest extent of sex that I've had. So I wasn't really exposed to it. So knowing that I'm part of a generation of children that might represent a lot of kids who haven't had that sex talk with their parents. This is how they explore sex, by seeing stuff, hearing about things, mimicking things, and just trying things out. I guess that's just how sex is, from my perspective.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, when we were younger, we would see what adults would be doing around us, and then we'd mimic that. As horrible as it may be, like I remember, and I'm telling myself, but nothing happened. But I remember when I was like younger, me and like my next door neighbor, we would mess around, but we didn't know what the heck we were doing. We were like 5, 6. But I say mess around because that's in our heads what it meant. And literally, it was us lying on top of each other with our bellies touching. And we thought, oh boy, we are doing it. And we didn't know what the heck we were doing to the point where we were like trying to hide and sneak. But the thing is, once again,
you knew something was wrong because you were trying to hide.
Not necessarily wrong, but it was more like we didn't know what we were doing, period. Right? We were just mimicking what we thought it was. And we didn't really know the dynamics because, once again, we were 5 and 6. But the fact that we were exposed enough to even try to mimic that or try to recreate that, we knew that it was something, but we didn't know the full story. And similar to you, you know, I was exposed to sex through school, through health class and all that stuff, like starting in elementary, then the conversation got a little bit more advanced in high school. But ultimately, you know, one of the first notions that I had when it came to like my family members, like I remember when my brother and my cousin used to somehow get like, you know, like porn off a tape or whatever. Or, you know, if you are old enough to remember cable, you'd probably hack your cable box and tap into like Skinamax or some shit like that. And
man, that's the safe one. You're supposed to go to the Spice Channel.
No, I mean
66.
you know the number. You know the exact thing. You know how to do it. Yes, give us the code
right now. Nope,
give us the cheat code, please.
Nope.
No, but anyway, it's just like they used to watch that and they used to like, you know, keep me away from it on some, no, you're too young for this. And I remember getting upset. It was like, yo, I want to hang out with the boys, but on top of that, I want to watch what they're watching. So I knew that it was something that I wasn't supposed to be exposed to, but then later on, you know, I was, you know, introduced to like softcore porn and then, you know, hardcore stuff or whatever. But that was around like junior high school. Yeah, like junior high school time about, that's when all that happened. So I was exposed to sex at a young age of that. And with not having to talk and with not having those proper conversations about it, it resulted in my whole relationship with what that meant to be very skewed. You know what I mean? Until I got older. So I just think that, you know, it's definitely a generational thing of how we were exposed to it, how kids and younger people are exposed to it now. But I want to kind of go back to TV real quick because, you know, even as adults, you know, we see situations where we watch shows like Euphoria, Sex Education, and all these other YA shows where they portray younger adults in adult situations. So for those who watch Euphoria, now keep in mind, all the characters on that show are in high school. They are very much underage. But at the same time, we see them doing drugs, we see them having sex, we see them doing all these things, and we get desensitized to it because we're not thinking of them as actual kids. We're thinking of them as adult actors portraying kids. So it's okay in our brains. But realistically, it's like, yo, even outside of the fiction of it, it's like, all right, we're watching these high schoolers like have, you know, extreme adult experiences.
Life.
Right. Yeah. Have extreme adult experiences outside of like paying mortgage and rent. You know what I mean? And for us, it's like, yo, that's cool, or that's okay, or like that's normal. And it shouldn't be, realistically. But we get caught up in that. You know, one of my favorite shows, Riverdale, it's a guilty pleasure, whatever, don't judge. Oh. You know what I'm saying? Like in the earlier seasons, for those who are familiar with the show, all these people were in high school and they were doing adult shit like having sex, getting into fights with whole adults it was just wild. Like the show itself.
This has been going on. 90210, Dawson's Creek, Buffy. This is how it's always been. Like young people are exploring themselves younger and younger. Hell, maybe next time they might have a show in junior high school. And I mean, I think they had something like that, right? Wasn't that Zoe 101? Where she got pregnant and they put it into the show?
Oh, I had no idea. I don't watch that. I don't know about Zoe.
I don't know for sure. I haven't fact checked. So whoever's listening, I haven't fact checked it. I know she got pregnant. I don't know if they put it into the show or she got fired from the show because of that. But all of that being said, that's always been the trend. I guess growing up that I've seen in TV personally.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. And once again, keep in mind, probably not, or probably I haven't even thought about that because I think at this point, after seeing all those examples, it's just become normalized. You know what I mean? That we see young children or younger adults in adult situations, and that's just either something we grew up with. So it was like, yeah, I get it. I was having like the amount of times I hear people saying, "Yo, I had sex," or the first time I had sex was when I was in high school. I'm just like, I can't even imagine that because. I mean, that was one, not my focus. Two, no one was checking for me at that point anyway. But on top of that, it's like, yo, like high school, like, yo, I was worried about one, just sneaking out to hang out with friends or, you know, trying to study.
You hung out with friends? I didn't even get out, let out the house. Like
I didn't hang out with friends like that. Like I used to cut school to like go play card games and shit. Like that was the most of my rebel youth. But what I'm saying is, the fact that most of my friends or the people I know now is like, yeah, I had sex in high school. Like that's supposed to be a normal thing, which I guess in certain cases, like, all right, if you are going to be exposed or if you have been exposed to sex at a young age, at some point in our teenage years, that is something or a choice that you may make, whether you are experienced or not, right? I remember my peers around me like pressuring me at that point when I was a virgin, where it was like, yo, you haven't had sex yet, da da da. And I felt that peer pressure and it was like, damn, I need to have sex soon. And this was when I was in college, when I lost my virginity. And it was just like, damn, I fell into that pressure. And I wish I had it because, you know, I would have probably made better decisions. Who knows? Whatever. I mean, it's in the past now, but I mean, these things happen. So I mean, kind of going
It's so
back,
funny that you said that about college, not to cut you off, but
no, that's fine.
Like you said, we mimic what our parents do, and you know that we're both Caribbean, we have a Caribbean background. So I used to love dancing, and you know, we dance, we whine, we dirty wine, we do all of that. So again, in college, I was tearing up the dance floor. I was busting it. I was doing everything. People were like, yo, why you dance like that? You can't be dancing like that. You a virgin. I'm like, I'm very much so a virgin because I'm not getting sexually aroused. I'm enjoying the music and I'm dancing how I grew up dancing. Like, you know, we just whine, we shake, we move our hips, have fun. So for years in college, until my senior year, like for years in college, it was like, yo, you can't be dancing like that when you're a virgin. And I felt pressured. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna just have sex with the next dude I talked to. And it was terrible. I was a senior in college and I'm like, I'm not gonna graduate as a virgin.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not graduating as a virgin. And I do regret it. If I could go back, I wouldn't do it.
Word.
But whatever. That's besides the point.
That's the past. But yes, I want to talk about also when we talk about like young people and social media, you know, the creeps always show their face. The creeps always tell on themselves, right? You know, you're on social media, you see a young girl who is very evidently under 18, and all the guys just go gawking like, yes, damn, just gotta wait till she's 18 and then I'm about to boop, 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 boop.
It's the audacity for me that they actually took the time out to write it, read it again, publish it, and let it marinate for other people to see on social media. That's what kills me.
Their accounts are open. Their profile pictures are full. Like the biggest example is Chloe Haley, right? Chloe Bailey. So before, her and her sister turned 18, people saw them on, Grownish, that show, and whatever. They were very much under the age of 18. And yes, as developing young women, they're showing themselves on the internet, as they should, because it's their bodies, they have autonomy. But older men are just like gawking and drooling at them, like, oh my God, like Chloe, Haley, yeah. Chloe, I want to get in that. I just gotta wait till she's 18. And it's like, ew, you're a creep, one. Two, it's just like the fact that you have to wait till someone's legal. And even that term has become extremely loose. Like, what does legal really mean these days, except on paper, all right, you're at a certain age, you have access to A, B, and C. But that's a whole different story in itself. But it's just like you're waiting till someone's legal for you to now sexualize them in a way where you desire them. And it's just like, but at some point you would have had to be desiring them prior to. So, but then it's like, nah, but I don't believe it's statutory, whatever. And it's mind-boggling. Like, case in point, Anthony Anderson, the guy from Blackish, people were kind of side-eyeing him when he would comment on Chloe's post on Instagram, for example, knowing that she was very much either underage or very much like huge age gap. And, they were just kind of calling him out for being kind of creepy under her post, like commenting like beautiful and yes, like, tunic on or tunic off or something like that. And I think we tend to, though we call out these men who are showing these type of predatory-ish behaviors, I feel like at the same time it gets so normalized to where some of these things are under the rug unless it's extremely egregious, and then we start, calling out people and putting them on blast. What do you think?
I think we definitely need to not only call them out on blast, but to put them in check too. And, I saw something on Twitter and, I guess it was a baby. Baby couldn't be more than 2 years old. I guess the mom wanted to dress her up, have a little like head knot bun, and she had like a little crop top over her chest area and some really tight pants with bell bottoms and some shoes on. And hand to God, there was a tweet from a guy who replied to her mom saying, "Oh, my pretty girl." And he's like, "Oh, I can't wait till she gets older." And I'm like, huh?
Warning.
Full retweet. And I'm like, you retweeted that. This wasn't just in your head. Like, it actually came out to play. You're telling me that you are sexualizing a baby right now. She's a baby that's just whatever, however she's dressed. You don't have a right to say, I'm going to wait until she gets older or she's of age. Like, that just shows one, predatory skills. That's definitely a call for some kind of, I don't know how the legal system works in regards to just comments, but there should be some kind of, something to reprimand them for even doing that. Like, how are you reposting a picture that's not yours, commenting on it, having predatory connotation behind it, and think it's okay?
Yeah. It's giving 911. It's giving officers arrest him.
I'm just like,
just tweets like,
where are the days Chris Hansen is? Because he had to just bust out the room and say, sorry, who are you here to meet? And that's been lost. Like, even then, it was just, and I felt like that put a little fear in predators, arm. It's like, what would you do on TV? You don't want to do something and get caught on camera. Same thing with Chris Hansen. He's out there, and like, even though they have predatory tendencies, it was still like a check, like, hey, I might be getting set up for something, like, and that might have just saved a life from a child from like trauma and everything like that. But they don't even have that anymore. Like, it's so desensitized now. Like, all right, we know who they are, but we just got to catch them. But it goes deeper than that. Word. Much, much deeper than that. We should have a Chris Hansen of 2022.
We should need a Chris Hansen on Twitter. We need someone to set an account on some tricking niggas in the DMs. And then when they're exposed, now putting all the business out there. I need someone to take the reins because it's getting ridiculous out here. Nah, for real. There was another guy that was tweeting like, yo, once a girl hits 19, then da-da-da. And it's just like, look, if you want to have the moral conversation of what is legal or what's grown and what's not grown, that's fine. But even just the predatory nature of like an older man trying to get with an 18, 19-year-old is already dirty. it's just like, come on. They are still, not even just like their brains are still developing. That's one thing, but it's just like, just the fact that you have a whole stopwatch waiting for this person to get to a legal age to then feel like, oh, they're ripe for the picking. Yes, let me pursue that if I wanted to, or they're free range. And it's, I mean, and look, it happens with women too. It's not just older men, whatever.
And it happens, it happens
but the sad part is,
LGBTQ communities as well too. This is something that just popped up on my timeline recently, and it was interesting that I started seeing this more about a lot of younger women who are lesbians, who identified as lesbians, when they're like 14 or 15, they get into full-on relationships with people who are in their mid-20s and 30s, and it's never been ashamed. And then it's like they're grooming them for until they reach a certain age, and then still go ahead and do predatory things. And they're like, oh, this is my girlfriend, and because we are the same sex, it's okay. It's not okay. Whatever it is, it's not okay. Like right now, and then, whatever damage has been done throughout the years, you with this person throughout their whole adolescence, their whole young adulthood, maybe even into their 30s, because a lot of the women that I see now are in their early 30s talking about their past relationship with people who are in their 50s and 60s. That's a problem.
It is. And let's not even talk about the people who are walking around here who have naturally or have at some point been sexually assaulted by someone older than them when they were a kid, and then walking around like, yo, that's normal, or that's something that should be dismissed. Case in point, a lot of older women, being predatory with younger men, and just the natural, I guess the normalizing of that, where it's like, as a young man, if you're not getting,
you gonna be a man, right?
Boys will be boys, or like, what I'm saying,
makes
like,
you aggressive, and you're gonna be hypersexual, and
exactly. And the fact that an older woman would then, engage with a younger guy, what I'm saying, and the label of sexual predator is not being put on them. That's I think now currently, that conversation has been debunked, and that's becoming more normalized, where it's like, yo, regardless of gender, regardless of orientation, you preying on a younger person, or having any type of sexual experience with a younger person is statutory. So I'm glad that the conversation has become a little bit more mainstream now, instead of in the past where it's like double standards and blurred lines, whatever.
Full of shame.
But in certain families, and then we have the typical conversation of certain family members, preying on younger people. Like, we can get into all that, but the overall consensus is that regardless of the social circle or network that you're in, younger people are being exposed to sex much quicker than when we were in the past. So I think, once again, knowing that there's not really much of a way to avoid it. I mean, unless you're like a vigilant parent or a vigilant, person who, protects their children, which is fine. But in the cases where children are exposed to these things, how do we properly educate them about sex? Or should there be a conversation of teaching, young people to be patient until they're ready? Like, what is the right course of action in this case? What do you think?
Everything has to be, I guess, personalized to each parental goal and each child. Everybody's different. But one thing that I've seen, like with some of my friends who are parents and have children, is that the earlier you start them off, the better. And even at young age, my friend would tell my godson, this is your penis. That's a woman's vagina. If someone touches you, this is what you should do. This is what you should say. Come to me. Never be afraid. If anyone threatens you, tell me. Because in a lot of scenarios, when this stuff happens, they'll say, oh, he touched my no-no. What's a no-no? Like, there has to be like clear definitions because children are little people, and they comprehend very well, and they're very smart. They soak up everything. So being able to let them know what the exact meaning and definition is, and it's like your private space, no one's supposed to be there, A lot of these stories are people touch children in places and then say, if you tell anyone, I'll kill you. You have to instill that kind of trust to say, hey, I'm your parent, I'm your mother. Whatever happens, nobody's going to harm you. They will have to, like, quote unquote, do something to me first. I've heard my own friends say they have to kill me before they do anything to my kids. And I've heard that a million times. So if you can convey that, I guess, to your children at a early age, especially going into like preschool or going into homes of friends, like you hear stories about the friend's father might have done something and you think this person is great. You hear a ton of horror stories when you're involving children and people who have a predatory eye. So you just always have to be on high alert. You have to let your kids know at an early age, and you got to gauge the people that your kids are around as well too. I mean, it's hard. It's hard because every day we see something worse and worse on the news, or we see some kind of ID channel true story. Look, they still can't find John Bonet's killer. Like this shit happens all the time. Like, why you look up? You know who killed him?
No. I was eye rolling because it's just like, that's just ridiculous. Like the fact that
it's still occurring.
It's a cold case. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I think when it comes to children, parents are like the first barrier or the first resource when it comes to what children soak up and learn and take in, right? And I feel like as a parent, I'm not a parent, but I'm saying as parents or those people in our generation, if we take the due diligence to be the first source of contact to our children about these conversations, then they can at least go out into the world with a better understanding of sex than it just being, thrown at them with no type of context or no type of, foundation, right? So, in a case, and not even just talking about like the act of having sex, but even sexuality. I think, in certain cases, a parent might not be prepared to have that conversation with a child, but they should probably seek out resources if they do see their younger kid, developing, their identity at a young age. Most people these days, the conversation is like, hey, I could see that my child is having like, gay or homosexual, I guess, behaviors or ideations, or, they're curious about this and they want to have a conversation. How do I, as a parent, prepare them, and how does that work, right? So I feel like, certain parents are afraid of having those discussions because, I'm like, oh, I don't know nothing about that. Or, I don't want to expose my child to this mad early. Like even the fucking politicians these days are on their bullshit about, oh, we can't, even in Florida right now, the Don't Say Gay bill is some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like they're injecting that in
schools. We're not going to talk about DeSantis here.
We don't talk about that bullshitter on this. We're not even giving him the airtime. But all I'm saying is it expands like different, areas of our society. But it's like, if we're not even prepared to even express these notions, even on a semantic level, then how can we even prepare our kids for the actual real world that everyone's so afraid to expose them to? Because the real world has all these elements in it. And that's just one pocket of it that needs to be, catered to. So, I mean, I just feel like people, once again, if we're not prepared to have these conversations, find a resource that could teach them about these conversations and, make sure that your child is prepared in any which way, especially when it comes to the topic of sex, to, approach it on a mature, but also safe measure. Like when I have kids, I want to make sure that they are fully prepared, whether a man, woman, or whatever they identify as. I want them to be completely prepared by the time they are ready to have sex or even thinking about sex, that they have all the information on the table and they can make an educated decision on their own.
What are your thoughts about, parents sometimes over-sexualizing their own children? Like say, look at my fine ass son, he's fine as hell, or my child is looking extra sexy today. Like, and it might be playful, play, that kind of thing. But it's definitely, planting a seed about, saying your child is sexy, and not only in regards to your type of relationship with the child, but also other people who might be seeing it, i.e. predatory people who say, if she thinks her son is sexy, well, damn, he must be sexy too. What are your thoughts about that?
First of all, yuck. Second of all, I think any person who decides to dress their children as their baby mother and or father deserve penitentiary.
Not only just dress, but like
no, but
like
I'm
verbally.
Right. The verbal thing is one thing, but I'm saying if you're trying to emulate your younger child as your partner in the sense of like, yo, I like the way my man dressed, so I'm gonna dress my kid the same. Huh? Weird. To me, weird, personally. But that's a different story in itself. But when I hear that, when I hear that, like, for example, there's nothing wrong with calling your child, oh, you know, my child's handsome, or look at this handsome young man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's nothing wrong. Or like, you know, in the sense of if you have a daughter, oh, my daughter's so beautiful and pretty, whatever, look at you, right? I mean, I don't know if that's like a false sense of putting beauty standards on kids early. I don't know if that's another conversation in that regard. But for the most part, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, to your point, when we get into the realm of like calling my little handsome young sexy man, yeah, he's getting all the girls, and it's like, your son is 3. Relax. Pipe down. Now you're being strange. Your child is all of 3. He's not pulling anyone. Let's not even. And you hear these narratives all the time. It was like, my son's pulling all these girls when he gets older.
Oh, my son is my boyfriend. My son is my king. Like, you know.
You need to get yourself on an app, and you need to stop dealing with your son that way. Because it's dirty. It's big dirty. It's not cool. You know what I'm saying? And we have friends. We know that we've had friends that have said these things, or we've seen these notions, and it's just
I've seen it, and you know, a part of me, I can see it. I guess with my experience, knowing that it could be damaging, but sometimes it's just unfortunately a part of their culture. And that's traditions that's been passed down. Maybe their brother used to be called sexy. You're like, yeah, he's sexy. And then, you know, around, have a son, and then she just automatically says that because she's just been around the element and doesn't see it as something wrong. But somebody else on the outside will watch it. That's what I'm saying, that example. Somebody else who might actually think her son is pretty fucking sexy and try to do something with him as an older woman. That's where it becomes convoluted. And I don't think a lot of people see that until the damage happens. And that's why we need to be able to censor ourselves sometimes and just, you know, be mindful of what's happening around our space, because it's a dangerous world we live in, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And there's going to be someone that either takes that seriously or runs with it. And now they take it a different way. And once again, it's just, it's a rabbit hole that certainly we don't want any type of child to have to experience, depending on the age that there are. So yeah, we in our generation, we have to be mindful of that, check people who may do those things and say, no, man, that's not cool. Just
check them at the throat, though.
Word. Check them at the throat. I like that. Just like, yeah, don't do that. You're being strange. You're being Doctor Strange. Let's relax. But just to wrap up, like, I'm curious, what is some advice that we can give to younger people, or in this case, what is advice that you would give to your younger self? I hate those questions, but I guess it applies here. What is some advice you would give to your younger self when it comes to the concept of being curious about sex or sexuality, and how would you like help navigate your younger self through that time?
It's an interesting question. I would tell my younger self, don't be so afraid to ask questions, especially with your parents, because they do care more so. I guess, you know, I was more scared that my parents thought that I wanted to have sex, but I think just having a more direct and open communication with them, like right now, our communications are great right now. You know, well, whatever, it's great right now. But my younger self, I would take it a step further and reach out and say, hey, Mom, I'm curious about this. Can you tell me about it? And then we'll talk about different things in regards to sex, instead of just glossing over it and coasting through the normal adolescent childhood age, because I think my mother only knew that I knew about sex because my cousin decided to order the damn Spice Channel, the pay-per-view thing, and she caught us watching it because we were sitting there watching it, but I was like, what the fuck is this? And not only did I get in trouble for that I allowed it to happen. I'm like, my older cousin, she a bully. What am I supposed to do? It was like $50-something because she paid for like the whole day because it just ran for the whole day. You know, I think they had like, whatever it was.
Yeah,
it was like
you
a
can pay
24-hour thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it was on for 24 hours. So my mother didn't know that you had to pay for it. So when the bill came, that was even worse. So I was like, I'm never talking about sex at all. Like emotional damage. Like I was like, that's it. I would have and also another advice I would have given my younger self is I would have saved my virginity. I wouldn't say I would have saved it for like marriage or anything like that, because I enjoy sex now, but I would have preferred to have the experience where Maxwell sang that woman's worth and had it really special with someone, and it would have been something that I could have held on to as a memory. That's something I would have changed. Other than that,
right?
You know, whatever happened throughout my lifestyle made me who I am today. So I'm a ride.
Right. Good job.
What about you?
Good job.
We're talking about sex. What do you mean?
I know, I get it. I just said good job. That's all I said. No, for me, I would definitely tell my younger self, do not fall for the peer pressure when it comes to having sex, and definitely to be patient. If I had been patient back then, I would have more than likely had my first sexual experience with my girlfriend at the time. Ironically, I was in a relationship when I had my first sexual experience. We're not going to go there. Let's not even dwell on it. We're moving on swiftly. The point being is...
You said a lot in those words. That's why I had to make the face. You said a lot, so I couldn't understand the timeline, but go ahead.
But we're moving on. Why are we even dwelling? We're moving on swiftly.
Because this is the advice that you would give to your younger self. So your younger self would have liked a timeline, so it would have worked out.
All right, we're not moving along swiftly enough. This is too slow. Okay, the point being is, I would have not fallen under the peer pressure, and I would have been patient to have my first sexual experience with the person that I was dating. Because
your girlfriend.
Well, at the time in college, my girlfriend was saving her virginity for marriage. So for me, it was just like, yeah, I'm on board, but at the same time, I was a horny toad, young adult.
Girlfriend, you didn't have sex with your girlfriend at the time, but with somebody else.
We're moving along swiftly. The point being is the advice would be is that I should be patient and not fall for peer pressure. All right, so that was a great episode. Yes, I agree, sis.
You were in a relationship.
Make sure to follow us on social media at sophigpodcast.com. Make sure to follow me and Rove on the respective platforms. Guys, we are running out of time. We gotta wrap this up. All right. We gotta wrap it up, sis. So, any final words? Composure, please.
Okay. I'm not gonna go there. Okay, all right. That's good advice you tell your younger self.
Look, the answer is I told myself we don't gotta dwell on it. That's it. All right. That's the answer. I would be more patient. All right.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Right.
Cool. Okay. Is there anything else, Rove? Would you like to wrap us up with a segment or so? What you got for us?
You said a mouthful, but I think I could still come up with something. one thing I have to say, I'm bringing back this Rovie Queen of the Block list. One thing I want to start blocking is, these streaming systems, right? It's giving not catered to me anymore. There are too many damn streaming devices: Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, TLC Plus, TLC Go, Paramount Plus, Plus, Pluto This, which is free, but they don't got shit on it but Flavor of Love and Maury. It's giving not what I thought it would have been giving, and Prime isn't giving what it's supposed to be giving as well too. It's making me miss cable, where I could just flip through the channels and find something to watch, because we're getting to that point where, one, Netflix is talking about adding ads to their platform now, and it's giving not what Netflix was originally supposed to be giving. And all they have is Netflix created shows now. Everything is Netflix. They don't have any good shows. They took out everything from Marvel. There's nothing worth watching on Netflix no more that's not Netflix created. Two, if I don't like something on Netflix, I gotta go find it somewhere else, either on HBO Max, and they're gonna have HBO Max Plus, or they're gonna have Stars Plus. I gotta jump from this to this. I'm lazy. I'm old. I rather just flip my channel and go back to cable. Somebody was talking about PlayStation as well. PlayStation has a good platform. The View platform is not that great for me either. It's still not giving what it's supposed to give. Apple TV doesn't give what it's supposed to give. Why do I have to pick and choose? It's not giving what it's supposed to give.
I mean, I like Apple TV, but that's neither here.
But you like weird shit, so.
Wow. All right. Finish.
So that's what I was saying. And then YouTube. YouTube is YouTube. YouTube TV. Yeah, YouTube is YouTube.
Oh, I don't.
So basically, I'm just tired of just shelling out $20 per streaming device. And especially me, I don't even have time to watch half the stuff. Like, I'm really this close to just not doing any damn streaming device and just ask friends of friends for stuff, because I don't even get to enjoy it. Like, I will be wasting my money. I'm not trying to be funny, but honestly, for me, I don't watch TV. And even though I try to tell people to watch stuff, I'm like, oh, I heard this was a good show. I'll never watch it. Like them, I still haven't watched them. There's a list I haven't watched a list of shows that I need to watch. Jacob's Ladder, my friends were telling me to watch.
You're booked and busy. We get it. I mean,
yeah,
no, for most people who are booked and busy,
when I want to watch something, I don't want to keep logging into different devices to watch it. You know what I mean?
Like, got you.
It takes away the essence of watching television. But that's just the generation it is now. I'm in between baby boomers and Gen Z, so I'm always in that transitional period. So we have to transition over into streaming devices. But for me, it's Buddha. I don't want to pay for it. I don't mind streaming if it's for free, but it's not.
I mean,
so I'm blocking streaming devices right now. So,
all right. Well, there's that.
You can keep your weirdo Apple TV. Sorry.
Wow. Yes, I guess the age of Netflix and chill is not. It's no longer giving.
Ooh, how can you chill with Netflix and it's not even giving what it's supposed to give? I went to Grenada and I was watching better stuff in the Grenadian Netflix. Like they had older shows that I enjoyed watching over again. That's restricted in the US. Like, it's so weird. Like,
interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, regional Netflix.
I hear you on that. Well, for those of you who got the passwords, or is the password holder, you know who you are.
People using my passwords, and they're gonna be mad when clink clink.
Log off.
Listen, the day I see an ad on Netflix, it is cancellation. They better not try me and talk about, if you want an ad-free experience, please pay $2 more. Excuse me? No.
Now you're being robbed by Netflix. Oh, baby.
Yeah, they had hope. Maybe we should have our own streaming network, or they should have the capacity of letting people choose certain shows that they would like from different platforms. Because just because I have Paramount Plus, like, I love watching like those real world road rules shit and that old stuff, but I will only watch that. I'm not watching The Lone Ranger on Paramount Plus. Like, I'm not doing that. Let me pick the shows that I want to watch and create my own like schedule platform, and then I'll be cool. That'll be fine with me. But I'm not paying this much to watch things that I don't watch. That's what I don't like.
I hear you. Yeah, that's a good point. If anything, that deserves to be on the list for sure. Well, if y'all have anything for the blacklist, make sure to let us know. And you can send those over to sophigpodcast@gmail.com. And we look forward to that. By the time you're listening to this, our website will be out and on the social medias.
On the internet, on Beyonce's internet.
Right. You will be able to access our website, sophigpodcast.com, where you can look at all of our episodes on YouTube, listen to all of our episodes on SoundCloud, and just, we have a platform where you can find us and everything. So please make sure to visit and tell us what you think. And yeah, love being on the Beyonce's internet, just out here shining.
Shining, yeah.
No, you didn't like the shoulder shimmy? You don't like that?
It's giving me I'm not gonna say it.
All right, yeah, let's be mature. Let's show growth. How about I'm
still evolving
right now.
Guess what? May will be my month. January wasn't. This May will be my month. I was
something about May.
Late start.
Something about May. It's a little, just giving.
It's a little late start, but that's my month.
Okay. All right, let's lock that in. I like to see May do something for you. Wow. Not me trying to give you positive reinforcement.
You did, and I took it.
All right, and this is where we end the show. Thank you so much for everyone for listening. Make sure to catch us on all of our podcast platforms, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, make sure to follow us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. Please follow us and interact with us. We are out here. Also, follow me and Rove on our respective social medias. And once again, as I mentioned before, if you want to reach out to us, be a guest on the show, or ask us questions, email us at sophigpodcast@gmail.com, and we will read your questions out loud on the show.
Yeah, right? We got some questions coming in. Yeah, we can start that maybe next time.
Yeah, next time we will get to that question for sure. But until then, thank you all for listening.
Thank you guys.
The weather's getting warmer. Make sure to show some skin, and please wear your mask, because the CDC is walling out here. Don't be that person. You can show some skin and wear a mask at the same time. Two things can be true. Anyway, all right.
God bless you. God bless you. Amen.
We'll see y'all next time.
Ciao.
Say goodbye, Rovie.